radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. It's Monday. How you doing? Today, September 3rd, 2018. 247 days into the new year, just 118 days left. Where did all the time go? We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. That's right. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to everyone out there. We worked all weekend, by the way. And we're so glad that you are spending your day off tonight with us. Hope you had fun. Hope you're still having fun. We're going to continue that with everybody tonight because our special guest this evening is Emery Smith. He is here for a complete update on everything in our world. It's going to be another open-ended conversation with Emery. Looking very much forward to this. He hasn't been on with us for a while, and it's Labor Day weekend. It's kicking off night one of our UFO week here on Fade to Black. Tonight, it's Emery Smith. Tomorrow night, Stanton Friedman is here. Unbelievable. So you're not going to want to miss that, and I know you're not. And then Wednesday night is the return of Barry Littleton right here on Fade to Black. That's our UFO week. Emery Smith, Stanton Friedman, Barry Littleton. And then Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. But Thursday night, what I would like to do, and I'm going to speak about this all week, I want to take calls about your UFO experiences, encounters, contact. That's what Thursday night is going to be. And I can't wait for that. Back-to-back phone calls, all UFOs, all the time, all week long here on Fade to Black. And you can keep up with this and everything that we do on social media over at OnStellar, onstellar.com, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Everything is Jimmy Church or Fade to Black. You know what to do. Follow now and like and subscribe over at jimmychurchradio.com. Any questions or comments during the show tonight? Use hashtag F2BQ, Fade to Black questions, hashtag F2BQ. And, of course, the sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. We have 2 chat rooms open. KGRA, very simple, right there, KGRA, and Spreaker, 2 chat rooms are open, plus the sandbox. Everything is happening right now. I talk about it all the time. Twitter's live to my left, live to my right, chat rooms, email. Everything is interactive on the show. Come over and I don't know what your poison is. Whatever you like to do. You want a chat room, you want email, you want Twitter, whatever it is, everything is open and live in front of me. All right. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Breaking news. You ready? We would like to welcome tonight our newest sponsor here at Fade to Black, and that is Fast Start Diet. I mentioned on Saturday over at Coast to Coast AM that I was fasting, right? Well, let me explain. Fast Start Diet, fasting is right now 3-day fast and fasting. It is the trend. Everybody's fasting, right? So Fast Start Diet approached us, and I guess I probably had a certain look to me. But anyway, so I jumped on it, and myself and Rita and our daughter Diana, we all did the diet last week. And it ended yesterday. Now, I'm going to tell you, everybody knows about my love for food. So let me get this straight. I didn't think it was going to be easy. And the first day was tough, right? Now, and what Fast Start is, Fast Start Diet, you get 3 separate packages of stuff to eat for 3 days. Right? And that includes teas and soups and basically nuts and berries. But anyway, the first day was a little rough. Second day, which I was over at Coast to Coast, I felt great. I didn't think, and I woke up after the second day, I was like, wow, right? Today I feel amazing. Absolutely feel amazing. And it's called Fast Start Diet. The links for them are over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can find Fast Start Diet at Amazon, or you can go to faststartdiet.com. You can also use the promo code TALK radio, right? TALK, T-A-L-K. And you're going to get 10% off of your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo-3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. They'll just throw that in the box. And it's great. You've got to do it. I feel amazing. I didn't think, I haven't had a burger or anything crazy or anything now for 5 days. I haven't done that in my entire life. Just got to say it. Wow. Absolutely amazing. Fast Start Diet. Go and check it out right now. Okay, also breaking news. Priceless artifacts spanning 11,000 years went up in flames as an inferno swallowed Brazil's National Museum. More than 20 million pieces of history, Egyptian mummies, and historic artwork have been destroyed, including Luzia, the skull and bones of a 25-year-old woman who died more than 11,000 years ago. No one knows what sparked the blaze that started yesterday around 7:30 p.m. I don't know if you've seen the video, but the entire museum. Now, and this is what I don't understand. And I'm sure we're going to find out more. No sprinkler system? It's a museum. I thought a fire starts and doors close and things seal and right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There's nothing but the walls left today. Last night, we were watching live video of what was going on there, and it was a palace. It was the state palace. It's 200 years old, and every window of this ginormous museum was lit up. Crazy. Absolutely unbelievable. Pre-Columbian artifacts, all of the research, unbelievable. Rita said to me today, and she's right, it's like Alexandria, the library. Think about that. Absolutely, absolutely nuts. All right. Also, check this out. The moon is about to get its very own 4G mobile phone network. That's right. Vodafone Germany has teamed up with Nokia to build the first 4G network on the moon. The network will be built in 2019, next year, to support a private lunar rover mission by the Berlin-based part-time scientist. The moon's 4G network will support PT scientists' twin Audi Quattro rovers and their lander called Alina, and provide unlimited minutes, data, and FaceTime to the U.S. Space Force already on lunar bases. That's right. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for just $2 a month. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the podcast banner. And you can also become a Fadernaut over at our membership section on the site. Check out all of our sponsors by clicking on their banners at jimmychurchradio.com. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen today is 53 years old. And say what you want, he's living life his way. But he'll always make the list because of 1, Platoon, and 2, for Wild Thing in the movie Major League. That's right. See, I have dignity. Also today, Shaun White is 32. The Flying Tomato is worth $40 million from the snowboard. And he'll always make the list because of that. On this day in history, OTD 1982 went down and I saw it live. The US Festival opens in San Bernardino County, California, and day one had Gang of Four, the Ramones, the English Beat, Oingo Boingo, the B-52s, the Talking Heads, and the Police. The next year, 1983, was pretty cool. Van Halen, Judas Priest, Quiet Riot. Yeah, it was good stuff. Fader fact. Now, I vet these facts. I vet them. And I vetted this one because it was just too unbelievable. It was too much. It was just one of those things. But here's your Fader fact. Saudi Arabia imports their camels from Australia. Seriously. Yeah, they do. There's a story behind it. I mean, originally Australia got their camels from Saudi Arabia, but now today it's so messed up over there. The DNA is so whack that now they've got to go back to the source where they sent their camels to in the 1800s. I'm not kidding. Saudi Arabia imports their camels from Australia, and there's your Fader fact. I bet you didn't know that. I didn't know that Australia had camels. Then I found out, okay. So anyway, here's the story behind it. But yes, Saudi Arabia gets their camels from Australia. Tonight is day one of our UFO week here on Fade to Black with guest Emery Smith. Tomorrow night, Stanton Friedman. Wednesday night, Barry Littleton. Thursday night, Fader Night, open lines with your UFO encounter, contact, and sighting phone calls all night long. All right. Got to hit my River Moon coffee. All right. About a year ago, someone sent me a link to a book. And the book was called Genesis Antarctica, the complete Xandernatus Trinity paperback. Now, this was published in May 2016, and written by one Gordon Kierl Smith. Okay? Now, listen to me. Genesis Antarctica is based on ancient documents allegedly discovered under the Antarctic ice in 1962 by the Australian Vostok Traverse Expedition. Known as the Haakon text, quote, that's Haakon, Haakon text. These unique writings predate all other early civilizations, including the legendary Atlantis, Lemuria, and Mu, by several tens of thousands of years, and couldn't be carbon-14 tested because they were beyond the 60,000 years in which the carbon dating works. The story is pretty elaborate. Getting information from the original logbooks of the expedition, that's part of it, using direct quotes on how they got 16 or 18 urns, all metallic, by the way, and they're all 1.8 meters high and 1 meter across, like a drum, right? Think about this. Each one of these urns contained between 15 and 20 manuscripts, and 5 of those urns had their own Rosetta Stone instructions on how to read them. Yeah, very cool, right? Well, at the time, now you really need to listen to me. At the time, I jumped into doing some research. It all seemed too good to be true. And I love a good rabbit hole. We all do. Yeah. The funny thing, at the time, I couldn't find one reference to not only the coffee. I couldn't find one reference not only to the expedition, but the Haakon urns. The research, the discovery, nothing. Zilch. I found nothing. When you get to the Genesis Antarctica website, you'll find a section called The Haakon Urns in the Press. And it states, and I'm quoting here, air quotes, in this section, we are presenting a number of articles published in the international press between 1962 and 1976. They reflect the intense controversy and strong emotions stirred up by the Haakon urn text and the disagreements between members of the scientific teams as to how the findings should be published. In the end, failure to agree on these points prevented the work from being made public until 50 years after the original discovery. End quote. They also display 4 press clippings from the Sydney Morning News in 1962, the North Devon Gazette in 1971, the something that's not clear, the blankety blank Mail in 1972, and Sociology Today from 1973. Now, when you read each one of these press clippings, it is very clear that the Haakon urns are the biggest discovery in the history of the world. Seriously. Why haven't I heard of this before? Why haven't you heard of this before? Right? I read way too much. I'm pretty smart. And this was starting to get very, very good. You got to love a good rabbit hole, right? But although I was trying to be a rabbit, the hole wasn't only empty, it didn't exist. It didn't. So I went back, and this is what I looked everywhere. And for this kind of news, this kind of expedition, governments involved, press clippings from around the world, coverage, quotes, people involved with this, there had, even if it was covered up, even if it was suppressed, there had to have been some nuggets out there. Had to have been. nothing. So I went back and I read the articles again. I was looking for clues. I was looking for names, authors, something. And yeah, they were all there. But everything that I attempted to research, I found nothing. Nothing. There was nothing. There was nothing anywhere. Is this a cover-up of some magnitude that I can't imagine? Possible. But as I looked closer at the press clippings, I noticed a few things that I should have seen the first time around. Clues, right? First, they were just too crisp. They were too clear. They were too perfect. For being 40 to 50 years old, they sure seem to be in great shape, right? And we've all seen press clippings and images, and especially from that time period, you got wrinkles, the typefaces, faded, brown, this, that, but these were perfect. Perfect. They were in great shape, right? It's like, what's going on here? And the second clue, each clipping has a date. That's right. Front and center. Perfectly displayed. In fact, and this, I didn't catch this at first, but when you go and you look at the press clippings, you almost don't see the headline. You don't see the name. You just don't. You don't even read the copy. The date is right there. You're just attracted to it. So I went back and I was looking at other press clippings from around the world. I was just looking at stuff, and you never see the date, right? The date is, you got to search for the date. And it's tough. But on these 4 press clippings, strangely, the dates are right there, and you manage to see them first. You're just attracted to it. Well done. Because I was attracted. I went to the date first, right? Well, after this, and I started to feel kind of bummed, I remember this, and I remember spending a few more hours on the web hoping for a breakthrough because the air was out of my sails, right? It was just done. And I was hoping for some breakthrough, but I let it go. The Hawk and Earns, right? Today, it popped up again on Twitter. And I'm not surprised about it. The writing, right? The work put into the fake site and the articles. Someone was bound to get sucked into it just like I was. Maybe even buy the book. It was all well done, and it was fun to check out, but it was all fake. It's fiction. And if you go to the website and go to Amazon. Now, there are a few forums around. I remember, the normal, whatever forums that are out there. I'm not going to name names that were mentioning this. And I have, I'm suspecting that it was probably the author or the publisher of the book that was creating threads on forums, trying to get this thing to get some traction, which it didn't do. Right. But if you go back and you look at some of their stuff that they have there, and then you can go and try to do some research, like reports from the Swiss PLMRI Research Institute on its hunt for subjects with past live memories set in temperate Antarctica. Well, there is no Swiss PLMRI Research Institute. It doesn't exist. And then there was this other piece from Martha Calbrow's unique dreaming diary, and her recording her initial out-of-body experience and vision of time spinning backwards, together with corroborative description of events described in the Haken texts. Well, Martha Calbrow doesn't exist. It's all fake. It's all fake. And lastly, there was the sensational discovery in 2013 solving a 37-year-old mystery and revealing a concerted conspiracy with intimations of CIA involvement to keep the Haken findings out of the public arena. Sounds good. But once again, all well-written fiction. Now, if you want to have some fun and you've got a few hours to kill, go and check out the Hock and Earns. The rabbit hole is only ankle deep, by the way. There's nothing, it's not wide ranging and you're going to go here and go there and collect data and find things. It doesn't exist, but it is worth it. The story is fun. It's complete. And obviously, Gordon Darrell Smith spent an awful lot of time of putting this whole thing together for us to enjoy. Seriously, it's a work of fiction. The website, now, okay, and there was another part of this. The website is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's well done. And it seems that, and this is my impression, that it is like other books that have been written similar to this in the past that put a spin on the historical narrative, and they created, it's like a mockumentary where it's a feel-good book about discovery, about the self, about finding yourself, about the planet, about the messages from the past, about how to save us from the future. Right? It's that's what it is. Hidden inside of all of this. Now, go and check out the website. Each chapter, each verse, and its concepts explained, right? The Song of Goran, right? Go check it out. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty fun, but it's a work of fiction. Okay, I'm just letting you know now. Don't get sucked into it. But it's well done. Somebody that takes this kind of time to not only generate the fake press clippings, the quotes, the log books. I think there's one video that they put up on YouTube a couple of years ago. That's there too as well. So you can go and look at each piece of this that was all assembled to appear to be something that it's not, but it's fun to deal with. I don't consider it a hoax. Okay? I don't think it's presented that way. I don't think there's any claims here. And with that, this is Fade to Black. Night one of our UFO week. Tonight, our guest is Emery Smith. Tomorrow night, Stanton Friedman. Wednesday night, Barry Littleton. Thursday night, Fader Night with all of your UFO phone calls all night long. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. On the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet, I'll be right back with our guest, Mr. Emery Smith. Stay with me.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to getthetea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. Getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo-3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church, and whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Day one of our UFO week here on Fade to Black. Tonight, Emery Smith. Tomorrow night, Stanton Friedman is here. Wednesday night is the return of Barry Littleton. And Thursday night, Fader Night open lines, and we will be taking your UFO calls all night long. It's UFO week here on Fade to Black. Tonight, Emery Smith. Emery Smith III was born in Plainfield, New Jersey. At about 8 years of age, he moved to Fort Myers, Florida, to be raised on a self-sustainable farm with a fascination for the universe and a fixation on science, aerospace, and biology. Excelling in all of his classes at such a young age, Emery quickly advanced his education and pursued his dream of joining the United States Air Force. In 1990, Emery became active duty in the United States Air Force and was stationed at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. From there, he went on to surgical tech training at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas, and then went on to England Air Force Base in the 23rd Tactical Fighter Wing, located in Alexandria, Louisiana, where he worked as a surgical technologist and surgical first assistant. Finally, Emery was transferred to Kirkland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he worked on and off base at the university, the UNM hospital as a surgical assistant and as a paramedic. He was certified in surgical apprenticeship and also worked as a hazmat instructor, an EMT, terrorist negotiation coordinator, flight medic specialist, surgical technologist, expert marksman, chemical warfare specialist, biotech warfare specialist, and lead decon response units. During this time, Emery developed the first military-industrial laboratory tissue database complex that was used for a joint civilian-military venture in sharing tissue sample data of varying origins collected from classified areas. Working at the laboratories became a milestone for him in his pursuit of the truth, and today he openly talks about his experiences working at these facilities publicly at symposiums and as a guest on Gaia TV's Cosmic Disclosure. His website is emerysmith.net, and I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Emery Smith. Emery, good evening, man. How are you?
Great, Jimmy. Thanks for having me again on the show. Always a pleasure to be with you and getting interviewed by you. Excited for the night. I hope the listeners are going to also be as excited as I am.
Well, you know what's great is we're going to have a cool open conversation, but somebody's going to be listening in, and we'll get to listen to the interference too as well and laugh.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen again. It usually happens at least once during our show. Hopefully it doesn't happen like that first time we had, but that just shows us that, hey, we're talking about the right thing. So it's kind of an honor for me to have that happen to me, and know that there are listening, and there's certain things that are sensitive that maybe I should mention, but I usually only mention things that will not harm anyone listening, or myself, or my family, or you.
Now, Emery, one of the things I don't think we've ever talked about, but I'm going to get out of the way first here, is that over the last couple of years, and certainly the last year, you have not only what you are doing with Gaia, but you've been out there doing different conferences around the country and radio appearances with myself here on Fade to Black and over at Coast to Coast. And this has been rapid fire onto the community. The one question that comes up over and over again is, how old are you, and how is it possible to have all of this experience doing so many different things? How is it possible that it's like you've lived 20 lifetimes? So how do you answer that directly to the critics, where, you've got all of the medical stuff, you've got terrorist negotiations, you've got all of your chemical warfare, underground bases, all of it's almost too much for everybody to deal with. So how do you address that?
Yeah, I really don't have, of course, the normal upbringing and lifestyle as anyone else. I have to owe a lot of credit to my parents. My mom in first grade taught me how to type. Of course, she was making me retype National Geographics. And so I was immediately immersed in these, the biology and National Geographic and all these, even one of my half sisters was buying me all these books because I was just enthralled with animals and dinosaurs and all sorts of things. So that I was more of the person who, not only was an athlete, but I just was always absorbing as much as I possibly could. And anytime there was any type of thing where I could volunteer for, where I could learn something or get a certification, even in my younger years before even going into the military, and, my father teaching me, mechanics for gas engine and diesel and, all these things, energy and electrical circuits and just amazing things that now I'm thankful for. Of course, back in the day, I was like, yeah, sometimes I want to go play some basketball, but I really am thankful for that, number one. And then going into the military, the military has this amazing thing. And it's like, it is be all you can be. You can just be what you want and stay there. Or if you want to start saying yes to everything they have to offer, you won't believe how far you can go. I mean, that's how I got all these different certifications and trainings. And, I couldn't stand still. I was very hyperactive person, very loyal and very just wanted to know more, because I knew from at a very young age about extraterrestrials, and I knew that somehow this path would lead me to know more and more, because just like everyone else wants to know, like, where are we from, why are we here, what are we doing? It can't be all based off, this history that we're learning and religion. There's got to be something more. And I didn't believe, a lot of things I was hearing out there or seeing. So what I did was, anytime they said, "Hey, would you like to become an EMT?" Yes, I would. Would you like to become an instructor for, surgical force assist? Yes, I would. Would you like to get certified in biohazmat? Absolutely. So it was all these amazing things that the military kept offering, and I was surprised that a lot of my colleagues, didn't jump on that. But I was like, I wanted to be, jumping out of helicopters. I wanted to be, trained in flight medicine. I wanted to learn every possible new thing that they could offer, because growing up, I didn't really have much. We didn't. I didn't come from a very, let's say, wealthy family. I was on a discounted lunch program, so it was something for me that if I saw an opportunity, I would take it and utilize that as an advancement to get more knowledge. And I really believe the knowledge is what helped me get along with other organizations within the military, and also, being able to keep secrets and sticking to your word with, certain subjects and things, that I was able to advance very quickly. And the more you advance, of course, the more certifications you get. So I really owe it to just from day one being put on the planet till all the way till now, learning all these technologies, accepting anyone. I worked with some amazing physicians and surgeons from around the planet and inside the projects, and just, sitting there and just absorbing it, listening it, taking notes, and remembering, wow, this makes sense, because this is connected to this, which is connected to this, which is connected to this. So I'm kind of like my own little private investigator, and I like everyone else listening to me, I instruct them and to ask them, please go out and investigate for yourselves. But that's what I did, because it's so hard, especially today, with all the disinformation that's out there. I have all these emails and texts coming in, like, is this video real, or is this, this real? And it's funny, it's on the internet. It's mostly 90% fake, but there's, 10% that's pretty amazing before it gets wiped off. So there's a lot of that you have to be able to decipher. And because of the training I have, the knowledge, and what I've seen, I want to share that with the public. I want to let them know, hey, there's a lot of things going on out there that everyone needs to know about. And I don't think it's harmful for the society to know that all these amazing technologies and all these amazing things are going on. And I see it in a positive way. And of course, there are negative aspects to it. At the same time, you got to, transmute that, and you got to look at it as, well, this is amazing knowledge. You were put in these positions. You're released of your NDAs now. Now I can, talk freely about pretty much mostly everything. And I just want to get that out to the world, because that will stimulate everyone else to do their own investigations, number one. And also, the frequency of me talking to everyone right now actually allows, I know it sounds crazy, but frequency-wise, genetically, for you to make the decision, using your own intuition or your own intelligence, to say, okay, this makes complete sense, or this kind of makes sense, I'll investigate it. And I just want to put that seed in everyone's mind so they can go out there and find out the truth.
How long were you in the Air Force?
I was in the Air Force for approximately 5 years, active duty. And then I had to do, of course, the 2 years of inactive reserve. So a total of about 7 years that I was in there. I know we're posting pretty soon online all of my credentialing that was just put together since everything was stolen. We only had a few things left, so we had to contact the Air Force and some other organizations to send us new things. Michael Sala just did a huge investigation on me, which I'm so thankful for. You can look that up on Exopolitics. He did a nice write-up, and he did investigate me with the Space Coast Air Medical Institute and NASA, and he did go to Harvard and ask my old my old brilliant scientist, very close friends at one time, which I haven't spoke to in a while, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's Emery Smith. He invented the first tabletop stem cell concentrator, and he also, was part of all these other white paper studies for increasing, regeneration of tissues." So I was thankful that all these great reports came in, and Michael Sal is a very thorough investigator, I'll tell you, because I didn't know he was going to do that. I did meet with him and brought all my military documents and all my certifications. He took pictures of everything, and he followed up and went even deeper. So, as far as that's concerned, I don't know anyone else out there as far as insiders coming through with the amount of documentation that I have, but at least people now can maybe be a little bit more reassured that, the things that I'm claiming to do. I mean, I do have patents out there, as everyone knows, and things like that for platelet-rich plasma devices and things like that, I don't invent or make anything that doesn't serve the earth or serve humanity. I don't make little gizmos, but at the same time, I want to do a lot more of that. But since they kind of took everything from me in the last 3 years, I'm kind of starting over. And that's been a very trialing and eventful procedure, and it's happening. It's going to take some time. But I'm very positive about it, and it's looking better. A lot of people are coming forward now and reaching out to me about all this.
Now, when you left the Air Force, and I'm asking this because of some of the photographs I have of you from the past, they're all very interesting. After you, from the medical side of things, after you left the Air Force, completed your 2 years, where did you work immediately after the Air Force?
Well, I stayed at University of Mexico Hospital. I was part of their neurosurgical team. I was doing a lot of trauma call as an assistant. So I basically stayed there, I don't know, probably another 6 months to a year. My father and mother became sick. So I flew back to Fort Myers and decided to, help them. I just got a local job there at Lee Memorial Health Systems as a surgical first assist and worked on the open heart team there. And from there, I was doing also contract work on the side. I was still connected to some of the, contract work I was already doing while I was in the military. So I was doing that, about every 2 or 3 months. I would fly to Albuquerque and spend a week there. And from there, I decided I hooked up with a couple of guys at the open heart team, and they wanted to start a new business. And this business was going to have to do with what we call autotransfusion. And that's where I jointly came up with this idea of this device to concentrate growth factors from the blood and use it for wound care. And that landed me the contract job over at the Space Coast Air Medical Institute. And then they were contracted out by NASA. So there was a lot of different jobs. I was pulling a lot of different positions all the time, 4 or 5 different things at once, and keeping myself, abroad of all the different technologies out there and how to improve them. And that led me to also, working with CSETI, with Greer, which was a great experience, and also, working with physics and some great professors with zero-point energy and over unity devices. So I decided to open up my own laboratory in Fort Myers and start working on these types of devices. And that's where everything went downhill. A lot of my business partners didn't want to be associated with someone who was part of ET documentaries. In a recent court case I was in, they played that against me. They said, "Your Honor, here's 1,500 pages of Mr. Smith online following and all the stuff he's involved with. Your Honor, he believes in extraterrestrial. He believes in aliens and UFOs. Can you believe that?" I mean, so they're kind of dogging me in court, trying to say, we can't have a business partner because that's associated with this because it's killing our business. Yet, here I am, starting all these businesses, bringing these people on at 50-50, and it's a very sad thing. But I'm just glad the technology is still out there that I invented to help everyone, and it's something you just got to take with a grain of salt, and you pick up and you start making more things, and you start doing new things and finding other ways to help the communities and help the world and each other.
What during this period when you got introduced to Dr. Greer, how did that happen? And was he aware of your background and what was going on at Kirkland, or how did that relationship start?
Yeah. Well, that's a kind of a private thing. I was, being at the projects for a few years and wanting to reconnect with like people that I could discuss, sensitive material with. And I was meditating and praying about this. And I had a visit, I'll say, and they said, go turn your computer on in the office in the middle of the night. And I stood up, and I know this sounds, batshit crazy, but I stood up in the middle of the night, went over there, and turned the computer on. And I don't know what I typed. I think it was like extraterrestrial phenomenon or something. And the CSETI website came up, and then I researched him and the site for about a year because I was really curious about what the civilians were doing out there and wanted to catch up with what was really going on the outside. And I said, let me try this out. Let me go to one of their little 1 week getaways, and that was it. Because I went out there, had amazing craft come in, had met some amazing people. Greer is an excellent presenter, and he caught on. He knew that I was a little different, and I wouldn't share any of my experiences in the past because I was still under NDA. Number one, number two, it takes a long time for me to trust someone to talk about that kind of stuff, as you know, and I've known David Wilcock 10 years and wouldn't tell him anything until just recently. So you can understand, being with CSETI for just a short time, I think it was there 5 or 6 years. It was just at a moment where, I wasn't ready and comfortable sharing that information, but at the same time, it was nice to, be around like minds, like consciousness people that, are out there trying to change the world and do it the right way, and not, get everyone into some sort of fear of shock level. And there's a lot of other, of course, organizations out there. But I felt it was a good shoe-in, and I had fun with it. And at the time I was very wealthy, so it was not a big deal to, go out and help these people. And, I was doing some amazing photography for CSETI, some amazing photos and videos and amazing contact work with just Greer and myself and some of the core team members there. It was a nice little family, I'll say.
Well, before we hit the break, the reason why I am asking these, the community needs these answers for one, but the second part is, Dr. Greer is always talking about his whistleblowers and the people that are feeding him information. Today, you're a whistleblower. You're considered a whistleblower. But back then, was he aware of your whistleblower status, and were you a source of some of his information?
Well, first of all, I would like everyone to stop calling me a whistleblower, because I'm not a whistleblower. I'm an insider. I just tell you my story and the information. I'm not really divulging too much information that is as far as whistleblowing on some big thing. I mean, everyone knows there's underground bases. Everyone knows we have ETs. So I don't consider myself that. So I'd rather just be called an insider. Greer had no idea. He knew about a few underground facilities I was associated with, and of course Kirtland, but he did not know the extent of what I was doing there, because I was only sharing with him the things after I got out of the military with the underground facilities, with 3D printing tissue and other things that they found and scanned from space and from archaeological finds, which I would share with him and even give to him so he could analyze and also use his people. So we were jointly working on, some, amazing classified little trinkets and things. And he did not know about all this information that has been released since November. So he's probably in a lot of shock. We're not in communication anymore. So that's where we're at.
Well, fair enough. And again, the community always appreciates transparency and trying to get to this. And others out there have never asked you these questions. And you know me, I'm not, I'm going to get there one way or another.
They need to know. The people need to know the truth. And, I had to protect my family. And, my dad was dying of brain cancer. My mom was dying of lung cancer at the time. And I was unable to save my father, but I did save my mom the first time from her first bout of lung cancer. And so there was a lot going on that I had to leave study that and focus on. And, I was also at a point in my life that I wanted to do some new things and focus on the energy projects solo without involving anyone I knew, except for my people and my scientists. And we did, and we were very successful. So, you'll hear about that next year.
Let's take a break right here, Emery, and we'll continue the conversation when we come back. Lots to discuss tonight. And, one of the exciting things for us in this community is we are talking about UFOs in the mainstream. We're talking about ETs. We're talking about exoplanets and contact nearly every single day. Finally, it seems to be out in the open. And we'll discuss all of that with Emery when we come back. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You know what to do. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only use night vision goggles from Bearing Optics. You can see your very own green chrome balls today by clicking on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Day one of our UFO week here on Fade to Black. Tonight, Emery Smith. Tomorrow night, Stanton Friedman's going to be here. Wednesday night is the return of Barry Littleton. And Thursday night, Fader night, open lines all night long, UFO phone calls. Open lines all night. I want to hear from you on Thursday night, your contact experiences, your sightings, recent sightings, any close encounters. We're going to do all of that on Thursday night. Tonight, it's Emery Smith. And Emery, there's been something going on this past month or so. I want to jump into this, and we're also going to talk about what's gone on since, of course, December of 2017. But is Antarctica and underwater stuff, there has been a lot of talk and video around the net of what is going on. And lately, this past week, it's been Antarctica. What do you know about what is under the ice down there? And things are melting and things are being revealed, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest quote to the planet is, everyone's always asking me, when's disclosure? And it's like disclosure is happening very slowly every day. You have to be patient. And everyone wants to know, like, who's going to be, are you going to do it? Is, Greer going to do it? Is Jimmy going to do it? Is, what's going to, and I said, no, Gaia is going to do it. I'm talking about Earth is going to actually do it because those polar ice caps are melting. And these craft that are there, a couple miles long, are like sticking out already, and they're trying to cover them up with some very advanced 3D holographic imaging. But they're not going to be able to. There's a lot of private satellites out there now, these box satellites that you can buy, and there's a lot of private civilians now and media corporations that are utilizing these with special cameras to take pictures. And, it's just a matter of time. I mean, you can buy really big drones now and contract drone companies to fly over certain areas. And the cameras are so strong, you don't need to be like right over the area. You could just be within, a couple 100 miles and still get a great picture. So I think what I believe is a civilian corporation or a organization is going to stumble upon this and bring it to the world, and that's going to launch a huge investigation. And they might try to cover it up. They might not. They are planning, I know, right now, the site, bringing in artifacts from Mexico and Peru and Egypt to discombobulate archaeologists when they do go down there. This is a site that's been, occupied for many decades, and now they don't know what to do. It's not something you can just get out there with a can of white spray paint and spray paint over it, is what I'm getting at. And there's too many different types of thermal imagings and other technologies out there that they can shoot down special low frequency wavelengths to see, what this is made out of. And, we'll know, is this metal? Is it a disc? Why is it here? Why is it so long? There's going to be a lot of questions coming out. So there is a base there, many bases, that have dug up and entered huge caverns and cavities down there. And one of the things that I'm working with a few people, one of them is Brad Olson, is trying to get down there actually before the end of the year and do some filming, working with the military and the military industrial complex, and allowing us maybe not to get down inside, but at least to get over there with a team and allow us to report something and release this in a nice sensitive way instead of in a shocking way where it was hidden from us. And that's, one of the side things we're trying to work on right now, because all we're hearing is what you guys read on the internet. And that's doesn't even scratch the icing on the cake. And we need to get a little bit more, I think, deeper into it. And I think the government needs, and the corporations really need to think about this very quickly, like how they're going to handle this, even though they've been, making up their own version of this the last, 6 or 7 years. They're predicting this already. But the truth is going to come out. The bottom line is the disclosure for Antarctica is right around the corner, and it's going to come out, and everyone's going to know about it, and it's going to open up a lot of, discussion for history and religion and technologies, which is a positive thing, I think. And people are allowed to, make their own decision if they want to believe this, that, or the other, which is fine. I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. I'm just here to relay information that I've been given. So, yeah, there is bases down there, and there's even more amazing, underground facilities that we've built in the oceans, actually.
Now, how do you get to Antarctica? I mean, where do you get the visa? You're not clearing customs. Where do you gain the permission and the access to travel to Antarctica?
Yeah, that's a huge national security agency thing. That's the biggest holdup. There was a little bit of there was some leniency to this in the past years for expeditions going down there for other reasons that we can jump on boats and tag along. Not to say you're going to be brought right to the doors of the gate of, getting down there, but that it was a little bit easier. But now with the government, they have just recently in the last 6 months implemented new restrictions of, who can go down there and, what you're doing. And it's a very taxing. So there's not, unless you're going to go to that little, they got a little resort down there or something that you can go down and hang out for $80,000 for a week. But that's just one little spot hub that you could jump to a bunch of other little skiffs and different smaller bases around there that I'm familiar with because of my friends in the military and some of the maps I've seen while working in the projects. So I think, right now is probably the most difficult time to actually get down there. And that's why I'm going to reiterate that they're going to be using easier methods of satellites and drones and things like that to kind of expose slowly some small things. And it's not like they're going to one day just show a giant disc sitting on the ice. No, it's going to be well, there's this thing, sticking out of the ice. So they're going to investigate that for a whole year, and everyone's going to milk that, and then they're going to, and then it's going to slowly, people are going to come to their senses and say, hey, you can't hide this thing anymore. People need to start answering. And probably some, science foundation will come forward and say, hey, we discovered this amazing underground archaeological site, which has, similar things that Egypt has. And similar things that the Mayans had, at their site. So I think it's going to be this slow disinformation, but I'm not worried about that because long as it's disclosed, I know the right people and the right white hats are going to do the right thing and get us the correct information.
Have you seen, and this surfaced on the net a couple of days ago, have you seen this image? I'm not going to, I can give you the coordinates, but this image from Antarctica with the series of anomalies, I don't know how to explain it, protruding from the ice. It's a long string. It seems to be in some kind of organized line. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, maybe 26, 28 objects sticking out from the ice. And the last four, it's not natural, whatever it is. Have you seen this image yet?
No, I have not. I could look at it real quick.
Jump over to Twitter. I'm going to copy. I'm going to copy you right now in Twitter, and look at these. Copy and paste the coordinates. It's simple.
Yeah.
And here it is.
Oh, it's on Google Earth, you mean?
Yes. Okay. So I'm posting the coordinates now, and just go and look at this image. And let me copy you. Boom.
Oh, hey, do that. Hey, do that on a text for me though, on my private line.
Oh man,
If you can. Oh no, I can't. Okay,
dude, I'm on live radio right now. You want me to figure out? I can't.
Know.
No,
okay.
I can't think of that stuff. I don't know how to do it.
Okay, sorry. I got the handler here, and we're getting it on.
Okay,
all good.
Yeah, look at that image. That is something and that's right in the middle of Antarctica, man. That is very close to the South Pole. I have not very close to the South Pole. What I'm saying is, it's not on an island. It's not on the coast. It's
right. It's obviously above this, miles and miles deep of ice. Gotcha.
It's that's pretty interesting. And I don't see any track marks around it. I don't see any, it doesn't look like anybody is looking at it, but it is certainly there, and it has been caught on Google Earth, Google Satellite. That's interesting. Are you looking at it?
Let's see here.
Okay. Well, now, and so we have something like this, and as you're pulling that image up, I want your comments on it after you look at it. There are, when we see things on Google Earth, Emery, under the water, the way that the sonar tracks, things look artificial, but it's just, artifacts from sonar and stuff. But when you're taking...
right. It's coming up here in a second. So did they take this from a satellite or from an aircraft? Or
this is Google Earth.
Oh, just Google Earth. Okay, here it is. It's zooming in right now. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, well, I've actually seen this before. Yeah, I see what you're talking about here. Well...
That's in the middle of Antarctica, man. That is...
Yeah,
and
well,
what?
As I was saying, I'm not going to confirm, live here what this is. I'm going to tell you that this is the things that are being shown to the world by Earth, and you have to understand they're already in these craft working inside, and they're creating heat, and the heat sometimes is escaping through different parts of the craft, and you have these anomalies that are happening all over the ice and snow all over the world, not just in Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you're looking at is most likely the craft is under there, and they were probably they breached it. They've probably been down there for a while. But regardless, if you look at how fast the ice is melting, and the geologists know what I'm talking about here, is there's no way at this rate of melt that they're going to be able to hide that thing. Is what I'm getting at. So you're going to see some amazing footage probably soon. Google Earth, I can't believe they haven't fuzzed that out yet. But I think there's also people on Google Earth and satellites because I think they have some sort of special updating system. I don't know how often it is, but It's something you guys should definitely look up. Because there's Google Earth, 2 years ago is completely different than Google Earth today. A lot of people have saved a lot of the images and online, and you go back, and of course they blurred it out. Which red flag? I mean, come on. I mean, how can you hide something like that? Is what I'm getting at. Like you're basically saying we've been told to blur this out because there's too much, internet media about it and people going back and forth. So. That's my opinion on that.
I don't know what it is. It looks like escaping heat and vapor has been caught.
It is.
And it's all happening at the same time. It's melting, and there's something gaseous. That's the only way I can explain it.
Mm-hmm. They have huge vents. On these facilities and whatnot, they do have huge vents that are miles away, by the way, that all the heat and everything gets shot out. And a lot of these things, are very, very, very deep, a lot of the facilities, that there was no way it's going to go through, a mile of ice, the heat escape, with these vents. Now, this is different because it's so close to the surface that, whatever they're doing in there is creating this, as you can see too, the lines of the wind or whatever probably is blowing it southwards, it looks like, of the heat and the melting and whatever these are. But they're too symmetrical, of course, is what I'm going to tell the audience here. Especially if you look up to the left, you have another triangle-shaped object coming through, and a huge vent on the top, far top left, with it basically looks like you could probably drive a few jumbo jets through. So
yeah, it's about that top hole is 200 feet.
Exactly. So this is what's happening, and that's why they're not going to be able to hide these areas much longer, just because of this huge warming of the planet.
Is there a natural explanation for this? To have everything in a straight line and symmetrical and grouping of it just doesn't seem. It's weird. The bottom 8 holes, the 4 that are really spaced apart at the bottom on the south, and then there's a group of 4 right above it. And I measured everything, and they're all spot on. Right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is obviously something that was consciously made. It wasn't Earth-made. It wasn't a natural, fissure. This is something that I've been, telling people for years now in my closed groups. And what I've been telling everyone in the last, 9 months is that there are these craft, many of them out there that are going to be shown through the ice. And I'm glad this has come through. It just confirms everything I've been saying since November. There's going to be a lot more, and it has to do with what you just said. There is some heat going on in these facilities and areas, especially when they find craft and breach them and go inside and start using, electricity and other things. You have this issue. I'm surprised that they allowed that photo to be shown on Google Earth. It'll be funny if it does disappear in the next couple months because of this broadcast, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what that answer is going to be, because the National National Geology Survey crews and all these people that are part of this National Science Foundation, all the people that run all these amazing things down there, they should be looking at this. That's the question. Is we need people to say, hey, what is this? Why don't you guys go down there and find out what this is? And they have the capabilities of doing that easily.
And what about
answer?
Yeah, well, what about? I don't want this to run into a commercial. What about underwater? What about other sites that have also been captured? Of course, the Malibu underwater base is one that we brought forward 4 or 5 years ago. But there's also those implications with Google around the world. People are starting to find things, and I'm wondering if if I'm ET, a perfect place to hide is the water, right? We know very little about it. Are there any active bases out there underwater?
Well, as an ET, you really don't have to hide because you do have the energy and consciousness to be cloaked and invisible. And, sometimes it's only by choice that they come into the 3D, into this materialized way, at their own risk, sometimes intentionally, to be caught. And there are many facilities that we have built in the Marianas Trench and other deep areas of the ocean, which I would love to get into after the commercial break. But as far as ET bases, it's not like when people think of extraterrestrial bases, you can't think of a military installation. Okay, I don't want you thinking of like what you hear. It's just this big giant base with a bunch of hallways, and it's not so much like that because they have conquered the energetics and transdimensional technology that they can move an entire civilization, in the size of a light, the size of a lemon in our 3-dimensional space. So they could be anywhere at any time as far as facilities, and you wouldn't even know it. However, because of ancient facilities and ruins that have been found here from millennia ago, we have tried to build our bases near these and underwater, of course. I'm talking about now all underwater facilities. And it's a very interesting way how they do this, which I can get into, how they construct these. And the Marianas Trench actually has a portal there, way down deep, that they've been monitoring for some time. And we do have a facility down there that monitors, all the energy fluctuations that's coming out of there. So we do believe there's an extraterrestrial base there that is very active. We have not engaged that base, but we have built a base right next to it. And there's also a special cavern system that is, as far as I know, through maps that I've seen of the inside of the Earth, that it is one of the only places you can actually get to the inner Earth dwellings that are there that could be 10 to 15 miles in long, that have their own atmosphere and whatnot, where there's a whole another bunch of species and life brewing down there that they're collecting things, and they do know about this, and they have sent teams into these areas to investigate that I know firsthand through documentation by being in the project. So I think, that this is another thing we should probably get into in more detail because you're looking at facilities deep down in the ocean that are ours. And then there's ET facilities, and then there's these portals, and then there's these entrances to parts of the Earth that has not been mapped out for the general public, that holds wonders, just like our ocean. The big saying is we know more about our own solar system than we do our own ocean, which I find that very funny. There's only 3 people, reportedly that have been down to the Marianas Trench, which, I laugh when I hear this, James Cameron, of course, being one of them. I mean, God bless them. I mean, it's amazing, but actually there's a lot more going down there than anyone would ever believe. And I think the public also needs to know about that.
The possibility of ET visiting us every single day. There's one thing when it's over land, CE5s and my experiences and yours, but the oceans, we don't have people living there. That's the first thing, right? But it is the perfect place to go because you can do all of the data collection on species and fish and so forth. There's that, but also you can do it completely clandestine, not only for ET, but for our own military. We don't have any knowledge. We don't have a way to, for checks and balances. There's no way to observe or to report on this activity They're going to be able to do it completely by themselves without anybody knowing about it.
Absolutely. It's the best place, besides digging deep holes in the earth, which is not that safe anymore, to be in the oceans and, keep all these things classified. I mean, a lot of just so everyone knows, a lot of the let's just say the hard drives of the government secrecy is located deep within the oceans and vaults, at the bottom of these oceans that can only be accessed by, submarines and things. And this is on a very archaic level, by the way. There's, there's corporations that have mastered, types of craft that can fly and go all the way to the bottom of the ocean, creating their own energetic gravitational fields with no problem. They have their own stuff too. So you have a lot going on down there. But let's just say, it's funny because I remember moving to New Mexico, the 5th largest state, and here in the U.S., and they're like, well, there's only 500,000 people here, and I was just like, wow, at that time, and I was like, this is a lot of land for just a small amount of people. And here we're talking about the oceans, which basically, are, 2/3 of the entire planet here, that are, so open, so vast. It's like open for all these amazing secretive things to be done in. And you're right. So I agree with you. There are many facilities, and there's many of these. It'd be an easy place to hide out and do experiments and also take samples, like you said, and not be bothered.
I think it's one of the most fascinating aspects of everything, and it's the hardest to confirm. I can vouch for, we went out on a couple of big boats. I also flew out over the Malibu underwater base, and it's hard. It's hard to get unmanned vehicles down there. It's very difficult. As far as I know, James Cameron is one of the only to go out there as a civilian and get something done with a great expense, huge dollars. And I went out and with a film crew and not quite an unlimited budget, but we were able to do what we could do, and it was difficult. It is not easy. It is daunting. And I'm going to tell you, the ocean is always going to win. Okay? That's just it.
You don't go up against the ocean.
No.
Mother Ocean, you don't mess with.
No. It's the one thing that I came away from with is just that. You're not going to win. You're not going to beat the ocean. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Emery Smith. We're going to continue this Mariana Trench discussion when we come back. It's Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tepe. Do you want to be an official Fade or Not? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the paranormal radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can also follow Emery at Emery Smith 33 right there on Twitter. And continuing, we got to pick up where we left off, Emery, talking about the Mariana Trench. Is it, you mentioned portal, is it a portal, and a portal to what, or is there an actual ET base there? And who found it, and what part of the trench is it in?
Yeah, I don't know where it's at exactly, like coordinate-wise. I can only tell you because I've seen the documentation and some video and pictures, from this site. So there is an extraterrestrial facility there that was there for a very, very, very long time. It's a joint venture with many different civilizations that are coming in and out using this portal. And it's built on an ancient, believe it or not, I know this is going to sound crazy, it's built on an ancient civilization that was there at one point. And people have to understand, I'm an amateur paleontologist, archaeologist, hiking 10,800 feet up in the Sandia Mountains, I'm finding, rocks with plant life and trilobites. So you have to understand, even though it's 10,800 feet up in the air, this mountain, one time that was a very deep ocean. So if you reverse it, you see what I'm saying? Maybe at one time this was an ancient civilization there that was, and when I mean ancient doesn't mean they were archaic. It just means there was a civilization there that area was very important because of the ley lines and because of the energetic deposition that it has with the Earth. And it has to connect other parts of inner Earth. So this is a hot spot, I think, for hundreds of millions of years. And I think they've been there for a very long time. And it's a safe place to operate, of course. We, I know, have definitely been there at least the last 4 decades, monitoring this. And recently, within the last 2 decades, a facility was made there and that they're using to monitor. There's also, they drop these giant, you know how we build the space station? And we send up all these different qubits and cubicles and you know, it's like when I worked with the Air Transportable Hospital, you know, we could set up anywhere in 48 hours, anywhere in the world. And we have these fold out surgery units, fold out laboratories, fold out x-ray, then the rest is all tents. Well, what I'm getting at is they're basically sending things down very deep to connect to this and building like an underwater space station in this area. And it is, you know, also a joint military venture with a few nations and I think corporations. I think the military is providing security and the corporations are running the testing and, you know, and things like that. Now, that's different than, of course, the extraterrestrial base that's there. But most bases that we develop underwater around the United States and around other shallow waters are actually done from within. That means we drill from mainland all the way down under and then come up, and with special anti-gravitic devices create this pressure wave that creates a sphere, like you see in the movies, underground, and then they somehow solidify that with some sort of alchemy and create this see-through metal. And these things are all over the place. As far as the Marianas Trench goes, you know, this is a very big hotspot because it's been a hotspot forever. There was a civilization there. They have artifacts that have come from there. They have brought things into my projects that, you know, I usually work on, you know, other than Earth beings. But there was also some things that came through that were from Earth that, you know, I've never seen before. You know, different types of animals and fish and flora from very down deep in these areas that I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and then later I was debriefed that this came from quote unquote deep within the ocean. And I don't know how you can have an air breathing animal or plant deep within the ocean, but I guess, you know, maybe they know something I don't know. And that's why I said there's this other part of the Marianas Trench that has an entrance to this inner Earth where there's, you know, other areas and pockets of the Earth where it's immense and it has its own atmosphere and it's its own biosphere. Like, you know, how we're trying to create biospheres here to live on Mars. And these things have been here, I think, forever. I think the Earth has a lot of secrets that we don't know about. And I think this is, you know, one of the things that's going on is, you know, finding out, you know, what's down there. You know, is it safe? Is it friendly? Are these things, can it harm us, the bacteria, the viruses, the cellular material that's down there? And they've been studying this for a while. And a lot of the reverse engineered things that come out of these things, just like we reverse engineer things from genetics, from extraterrestrials and their components and devices and craft, I also believe also come from, you know, our own planet.
Now, you said you saw video. What did you see in the video?
Oh, in the video I saw actually a map of a spherical, a half sphere on the bottom of the ocean. And it had like, I don't know, it must have been 10 foot of this special clear metal. I don't know the components of it, but they said it was metal, but it's clear. And it was at least 20 acres of protected area with buildings inside, normal buildings, nothing futuristic at all. And, people working there monitoring lots of different types of weird antennas and things like that going into the ocean. And I saw a ring of blue light that was maybe, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile away from the site. And they said this was one of the portal entries that lights up now and then they can track these craft that come through there. And they're not, they're not engaging. We are as humans, I think, just, looking at this and studying it. And they already know there was an ancient civilization there, just like in Antarctica. I mean, it's a similar setup here where it's going to melt and we're going to see this whole new, all these ruins and all these amazing things. And that's what I saw. I saw the control center. I saw a walk through the hallway, and when they showed the camera up, it was like you were looking into space. It was just this giant blackness of. It was just a dark blackness of hollowness. But we're talking about 20 or 25 acres. Of this
open space,
of this special protective barrier that they have built using reverse extraterrestrial technology, and they're monitoring this, and they are using special craft to go not anywhere near the portal, but they're using it to go into the other section, which is very nearby, that goes into this inner Earth area.
Who lives there? And I'm talking about ET, but who or what species it is? It could be us. I don't know. But who lives there, and are they breathing, our atmosphere?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, these extraterrestrials, have their own ability to create their own atmosphere wherever they go as they walk around, and there's multiple different species that are jointly working in that facility. I know for sure. As far as we have to, of course, make our own atmosphere and just, as humans, have oxygen and carbon dioxide. But there is definitely a facility down there that's been there for quite some time that they have not. And this is what I don't understand, is because we, in our projects, can speak freely with different extraterrestrials, and and people must understand most of the extraterrestrials do kind of look like us, not exactly, so they're not like some I don't want people thinking it's like Alien or something from the movies. These are just different people that have been evolved for a long time here, and there's different species that are working conjointly, kind of like a United Nations type thing down there, and I'm not sure, exactly what they're doing. And if I don't know exactly, I'll say secondhand information. So secondhand information told me that they are there to stabilize the planet Earth and to keep the Earth, in a homeostasis kind of moment, because we are destroying the Earth. And if we destroy the oceans, then there's not going to be an Earth left, and then everyone will have to evacuate, even them. So there's some sort of protection thing going on to make sure that we don't, go too far as poisoning the planet and each other.
You said, I want to go back to what you just said. You said that there are species there, and you know that for sure. How do you know it for sure?
Well, I know for sure because during one of the briefings, when they were talking about this facility, they said it had multiple species and multiple, they actually said entities that are, seem to be working on a positive project there. And there's two species that I know that were not captured, but there was some sort of communication just one time that it was a very positive thing. I don't know the verbiage. I don't know what they said, but it was obviously good enough that the governments, the military, I don't know if the military was involved, but the governments and the corporations that were involved with it did not see it as a threat.
Now, separate from the entrance, you also mentioned portal. Portal to what?
Yeah, that portal is definitely interdimensional. There's ley lines. You know how everyone knows about ley lines of the planet. We have these energetic areas that are, the highways for these craft to travel through and for our craft to travel through. There's actually ley lines in the universe that they have mapped out. And this is like so fascinating when I first discovered this. And it was this map of the universe, like going from planet to planet. These, they were showing on this computer animation thing on one of the briefings of these ley lines through the universe. And these ley lines are connected to each planet. They're connected to sometimes different multiverses, like the hexagon on what is that, Saturn or whatever, or that on the polar there on the ice caps there. I forget which planet it was. I'm not educated on that, but I remember all these things were all lined up. And I was asking, well, what is that? And they said it's where the portals are lined up. They said these are like kind of like little wormhole type things. This is the best layman's terms I could put it on. That you can instantly be somewhere in seconds by utilizing this energetic field with the right technology, whether it's a craft or a person or a being or whatever you have. And so that portal has nothing to do with portals like traveling around Earth, which, I know a lot of listeners understand about, but this has to do with universal, this is like the interstate for our universe, our 3D universe. But there are a couple different points that are actually go to different dimensions. And you can't take a 3-dimensional craft into a 4-dimensional place. So, you'll be destroyed. You have to already have that science down.
The other part of this, which I find so interesting, is the talk of the Mariana Trench and the existence of that. And then we look at these images coming out of Antarctica. We have this ginormous entrance off of the coast of Malibu, and I think that is a very obvious entrance to something. Is that we have these here now, they're being exposed, but 10,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, the Earth was a different place. Antarctica, 50,000, a million years ago, whatever, you pick the time, was a different environment. And we have the levels of the oceans that were different. Right now, the Mariana Trench is the deepest point on planet Earth. And I understand that, but that wasn't the case quite a while ago, where the levels were different and these entrances were probably on land and exposed.
Absolutely, Jimmy. That's why I brought up the Sandia Mountains. Hiking up to the top of the mountain there, chipping off a couple of these blocks of ocean seafloor. So everyone has to understand the planet. Hundreds of millions of years ago was completely different.
Right.
Forget about Pangea.
Right.
We're talking a little bit past that, guys. You have to put it in perspective. This planet's been here a very long time. It has had many, many civilizations that have come and gone. And, we're, in the next field of advancement for this planet and for the universe, which means there's going to be, shortly a big change that, allows the planet to survive and allows all of us to survive and go amongst the stars. But we all have to get on the right, track first. So, yeah, I agree with you. And I'm glad you brought that up. And that's why I mentioned that earlier, is that, you can't think of, just because there's an ocean there, you look at the Bimini ruins, you look at the ruins off Japan and China. There's a lot of things going on. Look at Cuba. They got pyramids down there 3 times the size of, the pyramids in Egypt, right there to the east of Cuba. But no one talks about it, of course. No one wants to, go there. But, so it might have been a little bit different at that time, which means maybe we were underwater. A lot of the United States was underwater. And there's a lot of things that, was not underwater because of, many ice ages, not just one ice age, many ice ages were here. And, just because there's an ice age doesn't mean you can't live here. It just means that there's a lot of available real estate around for you to build amazing civilizations. And they probably didn't know that, it might melt and get flooded one day.
Well, that's exactly the point. And you can pick a spot out. Any coastline on any continent right now that's underwater wasn't at one point. It's really that simple. And when you look at the entrance of the Malibu base, it's 2,000 feet down. It's big, and I understand that, but it looks with the pillars and with the roof, and it looks like any type of monument that has been any megalithic structure. Granted, it in a much bigger form, but how could you build that underwater? Well, look, 50,000 years ago, it wasn't underwater, and it was above ground. And it was above water, it was above ground. And that's the only way to really look at it. It makes sense at that point. And then today, it's being reported that the 9th planet is sitting hidden behind Neptune. Now, we have Nibiru, and we have the Sumerian text, and we have, Planet X and all of this talk. But now it looks like it's sitting out there behind Neptune, and we can't see it in our own solar system. And it's 10 to 20 times the size of planet Earth. And these are things that we just don't know about here. Science is proving it. I don't know how long it's actually been known, but now it's going public. And there's another spot right there for something pretty clandestine to be hanging out, and we just don't know about it. But here we go. The 9th planet is behind Neptune.
Yeah, I want to, before I get into that, I want to add one more thing. Living in Lee County, Florida, and I was involved with some of the most amazing archaeologists that have been there twice my age, and diving, the Peace River and some other sacred areas there in Arcadia, Florida. I'm pulling up, dinosaur bones. I'm pulling up ground sloths, from deep in the mud, under, 50 feet of water. So we have to understand that the land was a lot larger at one point as well. I'm just trying to make sure there's a conceptual understanding of what we just talked about earlier. As far as getting to this planet, I'm not educated enough, and I don't have any information to talk about the planet except the astronomers that I'm associated with that call in and tell me things, and I'm not. I can't really get into that, but the main point that we want to get across to the public is that there's a lot of things that are going on that, are going to be exposed that we don't understand yet, but science is really jumping ahead. There's some really aggressive scientists, and I love these people that are out there because, they're the ones that come forward with really good raw data or photos and things like this. And there's a lot more, I think, that's going to come out in the next 6 months that people are going to be, pretty awed about. I think there's going to be a big shift here. A shift is always going on, but I think, some people, they need to kick the tires on the spaceship. So, it's kind of like we have to show scientifically some things to prove something to some people, and a lot of people already know it, and whether they want to believe this, that, or the other, it's fine. And, excuse me for a second. Okay. And I believe that the time is now that huge change is going to be coming, and the advent of all the knowledge is going to come forward as far as some truth, but not all the truth. We have to decipher the truth as the community, as the collective of all of us, you, me, and the collective. We have to say, that's a little fishy, guys. I mean, how the heck did that, amulet from Egypt get into Antarctica, but yet all these other weird things are here? We have to pull their pump card is what I'm saying. And we gotta warn everybody that there is, of course, there's always going to be some disinformation as long as the corporations are there, which, that's fine. We'll work with it. We work with what we got. That's what we have to do. We don't have to go fist fight everybody. Let's work with you. Let's say this for this, and I always want to leave that message out there that we don't need to fight. We can always, be civilized, talk it out, be communicative, and understand, especially if there's a language barrier, of, what's being received and what's being accepted. And, how we do that, yeah, there's going to be repercussions. People are not going to agree with this, Jimmy. You know this.
I totally agree with you. And we're going to take a break right here, and when we come back, we'll continue the discussion. I've been posting up, Emery, you can go check this out during the break, different angles of the this image up in Antarctica. And what I did, I went into Google Earth Pro, and there it can really get enlarged, but also you can change the angles of it. And look what I posted. It's interesting when you look at it from these different angles. And this latest one that I'm posting here is has got it flipped around. I've got it posted up. Look at it from this angle. That's just not natural. There's something going on in Antarctica, man. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. Check that out during the break, Emery, and we'll talk about it when we come back. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Emery Smith. Day one of UFO week here on Fade to Black. Tonight it's Emery. Tomorrow night, Stanton Friedman. Wednesday night, Barry Littleton. Thursday night's Fader Night Open Lines. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Teppy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. It's our UFO week here on the Game Changer Network at KGRA, The Planet. Tonight, Emery Smith. Tomorrow night, Stanton Friedman right here. And then Wednesday night, Barry Littleton. And then, of course, Thursday night will be Fader Night, open lines all night long. Now, Emery, these images today I find interesting. We have this
I like them.
Yeah, this announcement today about Planet 9 being this was a headline over at Fox, being behind Neptune. We have Europa and life there in the oceans. Of course, all of these exoplanets that are being found every single day. Those announcements. And couple that with everything else that has been going on with the New York Times and mass media, it seems to be an awful lot of chatter right now going on about ET, extraterrestrial life, contact, and so forth. What do you think is actually going on?
They're warming us up. They're getting us prepared. They're so worried that we're going to turn into a bunch of savages and, destroy each other on belief systems. And that's the problem, is our own government, aside from the corporations, forget about them for a second, because, they don't really care about anyone, is that, how do we do this the right way? Do we slowly inform people that, oh my gosh, we found bacteria on Europa in a puddle of water. Get ready. Because that's how a lot of planets start. That's how, we're stardust, and stardust, I can confirm to you, there's giant sticky plates floating around Earth right now collecting microorganisms that can survive in the vacuum of space. just like there are organisms here that can survive in the depths of the Marianas Trench near volcanic vents that would, fry a human in 2 seconds. So people need to understand that, there's life. And I think they're trying to get everyone warmed up to this idea slowly. And I think the opposite. Everyone should know right now the truth, because we're on a timeline. And I don't like talking about time because it doesn't exist, but we're kind of on a timeline in this matrix here where we got to get the Earth, to its homeostasis again. We got to take care of it, or we're not going to be, we're going to lose a lot of people here. And I want the listeners to understand that this is all just a slow, transition period saying, hey, there's life. We found water here and there's bacteria here. And people, when they make a big announcement, Jim, how they're like, there's life, there's, definitely life on Europa because of this, that, the other. It's like some people are thinking in other countries, whoa, maybe there's another race there or something. Well, there's races everywhere, but let's slow it up and say, well, we found, bacteria. Like there's been bacteria collected in space forever. And stardust has when I say stardust, I mean just particles of meteorites and all sorts of things that are carried from other planets that have once existed, that don't exist, that crash into other planets and make new life. And this is something that's true and factual you can look up. And some people believe that's what has happened here on Earth, which I'm sure maybe it started like that. I'm sure, because I believe we're all part of this stardust. These particulate matter of genetics. Because once I start reviewing all these genetics and I see this correlation of, man, it's all linked together, no matter where it's at. I don't care if they're from Aldebaran. I don't care if they're from Arcturus. That we still are kind of all connected. When people are like, well, we're 90-some% monkey and we're some percent, canine. And it's like, isn't there wouldn't you understand that, man, there's so many more things that it could be out there, that are part of us, and that are, planets right now that are beginning and growing right now from where we started, billions of years ago.
Do you think it's at the point that, let's say the big reveal happens, that the vast majority of this planet is going to go, so what? Right? I mean,
I think the new millennials will be like, they won't be shocked. It's the other population that is going to be like, that's why all these movies are out there, prepping us for, new things, and some of it's good, some of it's bad. And it's like, okay, what do you guys want to know? Like, what do you want to hear? What do you want to believe in? Because we have it all right here. But you got to get ready because it is going to happen. And whether you like it or not, if they do it over a slow period of time, which they're trying to do, which is not going to work, by the way, because there's way too many conscious and smart scientists out there that are going to pull their punk card and be like, by the way, and something, they're going to write a white paper and they might kill them, probably will, but at least it'll be out there in the public. The public's going to start questioning, and they need the public because we make them money. Without us working, no one makes money. So, it's this paradigm of back and forth of politics, religion, making money, and it circles all the way around to the major corporations and the secret programs that are going on and all this stuff. But I want it released now. I want the technology out. I want people to know that there is other life out there that is conscious, that is like us. And, unfortunately, there's this other thing, this inner battle going on with the governments and corporations saying, well, look at the influx of immigrants into Europe. It's like, whoa, you don't believe what we believe in. They're trying to make a conflict. They want a conflict. And we don't need to be that way. And it's hard to change thousands of years of beliefs from families to say this is right or that's right or whatever. What I'm telling everyone is there is no good or bad. There is no right or wrong. Listen, with your heart and feel, what's really happening here. And that is full disclosure. It's happening. It's happening right now, right in front of us. You just showed me a picture, Jimmy, of what I've been talking about since November. I mean, it's going to happen, guys. And we just need to be civilized about it. I'm worried about, people hurting each other. I don't want people, being negative and hurting each other about, this belief or that belief. All I'm saying is believe what you want to believe. That's fine. It's your, you have to have free will. And everyone has to have their own free will. And it's up to your choice, if you want to believe in Nibiru, if you want to believe in the bacteria that are floating around in the, ponds and in, Europa. It's all up to, how you feel about it. And I think bringing the collective conscious group educated, I wish I could make a university with, people that have been through these projects to help educate people about physics and science and biology that is not taught at the universities or the American Medical Association. So we could just cut to the chase, because the only reason it's being slowed down, and it's so sad, is because of financial gain.
The interesting thing for me, Emery, was right after the New York Times article. I was over at my brother-in-law's house for a cookout, and I bring up the New York Times article. This is on Sunday. Disclosure happened on that Saturday, and it was all over the news, right? It was worldwide.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there with my family who, they know what I do for a living, but we have never talked UFOs. Never, not even once over the years have we sat around the table and talked conspiracy and UFOs or whatever. None of it. And that night, it was the subject at the table. And my sister-in-law, Laura, who I love to death, very smart, very pragmatic. And
be careful what you say.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, man, she is spot on the money. And so I turned, I said, so what do you think? And she looked at me and she was like, what do you mean? Of course. What, we're not alone. What did you expect? This doesn't surprise me. And it was the biggest blow off. She's like, yeah, whatever. I was like, what? Whatever. Now, but I was expecting a little fight, a little blowback, my family, a little challenge here, and I was going to have to state my case, and we were going to have to dig into this. It was like, we're moving on. Of course we're not alone. That's it. Whatever. UFOs are real. Okay, what's for dinner? I was like, wow. And so I thought that was a pretty good barometer, right, of the rest of the planet. A pretty good example of the way that everybody else was looking at it. And I have to go back to the Vatican, and I have to go back to the Pentagon and the CIA. This is how Earth looks at it. They know that we're not alone. Bring it. We're ready for it. It's okay. We're not going to freak out.
Well,
okay. Let me ask you. Well,
I disagree, Jimmy, because
okay,
you're talking about you're talking about the United States of America, and welcome to my world. But I, travel to Africa, travel to these other countries, and in Asia, travel to these other countries with where their belief systems are, and which have originated, by the way, from extraterrestrial visits. But what I'm getting at is I'm not worried about the people here in the U.S. They're going to just accept it. They're going to be like, oh, okay, it's here, it's done. But, we have to look at this not just with us here in the U.S. where we got it made. We got to look at it as a whole for all the other countries that are involved, because every person, every breathing being counts when you're talking about accepting something that is so phantasmical when you haven't been educated, or, you don't even know how to speak a language, and, or you don't have, you're fighting for water every day. We have to encompass this in a positive way, because I've been to other countries. I've done a lot of these things in third world countries, and it's a very scary thing for them. It's a very unknown, it's not talked about. It's we have to be very delicate, and we have to be compromising and compassionate with, the rest of the world. Yeah, we might be the leaders in this. We might come forward and, be the ambassadors and do this. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. But at the same time, we also have to be careful, because, we're still, having problems around the world of, people killing each other, which is not accepted, in other conscious civilizations. So we have to look at this as a whole and say, all right, yep, the dinner was good. I honestly, I've experienced the same thing. So it's like, okay, dinner went fine. I'm out of here. Great. No one said anything. And it's like, well, that's great. But what about the dinner that's going on right now in Cambodia, Pakistan, South Africa with the farmers and all these other people? I mean, there's a big, and we also have to think about the indigenous tribes, of South America and things like this. I mean, there is a lot going on worldwide, and we all have to encompass each other and figure out a way, of course, to communicate better and to understand each other's languages in a better perspective, to when this does happen, that, we're going to be able to display the right information correctly and do it to involve everyone, because I want everyone involved. I don't want just us. I don't want to say, okay, the President of the United States met with the ambassador of the Galactic Federation, and now we signed a treaty, and, we get all this technology. It's not like that. Every person counts on the planet. I want to involve the entire planet in, this meeting of, and this disclosure of what's about to happen. And that's what's important. So I encourage all the scientists, especially the people out in the field, in the tropics and Antarctica and all the different, in the deserts and the oceans, to say, hey, when this happens, you're going to be consciously aware of this, and you're going to do the best to your ability to stand up for Earth and educate as many people as we can that this is a good thing, and this is not a violent thing, and that there's no need to be, fearful of this, but we all need to be understanding of it, so there's no fear, because of politics and religion and other things. People are fearful of change, and they're fearful of knowing there might be something out there, because that just means, as an 80-year-old man, my gosh, I've been lied to this whole time, and what am I going to do?
Well,
but when War of the Worlds...
Emery, let me jump in. I don't want to run out of time. The first time that you had confirmation that those tissue samples were not of this earth, you didn't go and jump off a building. You didn't freak out.
You're in my head. That's what I was just thinking. That's great.
Well, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm thinking about War of the Worlds, where they played the movie, and the people are listening on the radio, jumping off of skyscrapers in New York because they didn't know it was, just a TV, a movie show. They thought it was a real newscast, So, right. Of course I didn't. I was already. I'm too much. I'm too intrigued by everything. I'm a scientist. I want to know more. I want to know why, and why's go on forever. And you can learn everything your whole life. As my mom said before she died, Emery, you'll learn everything your whole life, but you still die dumb. And it's just as funny. she's very comical, and I was just like, yeah, I get it, but it doesn't really have to be that way. We can give people peace and love and understanding of what's happening, and that's the most important thing to me, is like to get that out there to the farthest reaches of the planet and to the farthest reaches of the forest, so we can so people won't jump off the oak tree. I'll just say, they won't jump off the redwoods and jump off the buildings. We just need to understand it, and it's a hard thing to comprehend sometimes when you've been programmed, and there's a lot of programming. So, we do have a huge population, as you know, that's been programmed. And, of course, most of the people listening to this, to your show, are very conscious and understanding and are evaluating everything we're saying, which is great. And, so that's my take. So I agree with you with that.
Yeah, I know, because the first time I've seen a lot of UFOs, no biggie there. But the first time I saw the craft go from ground level and fly up and out into the solar system, and then take off like a star. The first time that I saw that, I was pretty stunned. I was speechless. And Rita and I, as we were driving away in our car that night, we had to go meet the Fadernauts. We didn't even talk to each other. We were, you know what I mean? And so that first day when you left the office, the first day, Emery, when you left the office and you're driving home in your car, what was going on in your mind at that point, where you had confirmation of us not being alone? What went through your mind?
It was a bicycle going back to my dorm, and it was. I just remember, it was at night. The sun was actually coming up. It was dusk. And when I realized for the first time that this was not, what I thought it was, it was probably the most beautiful experience, one of the most beautiful experiences I experienced. That I just said, wow, okay, I knew it since I was, 7 years of age. And I was just like, scientifically, I know it now. And honestly, I just wanted to go back to work. I wanted to, I had so many questions, and it sucks because you can't ask questions and you can't inquire too much. But at the same time, you're relieved. All this comes off your shoulders like, oh, wow. Okay, now this is, really happening. But you also have to understand, I was visited in 1978 as a child by a craft, and I was communicating with this craft for a short period of time over the lake, and it was that was enough confirmation for me. I knew it, but since no one, I couldn't talk about it. My family said, "Don't ever mention this. Don't ever talk about this. They'll think you're crazy and lock you away." They're like, "This is true, but don't." So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do?" And here I am in the military now. They're verifying it, and I still can't say I can't say a damn word. I still can't say anything. And now here I am, as of November of last year, telling everyone everything. It's like the biggest release, even if they, sniper me tonight. It's just like, at least I got to tell the story. I got to tell everyone what's going on, and it was not as a shock for me, because I already knew inside that we weren't alone. I mean, it's like, we're from this planet, Jimmy, but we're not of this planet. I can guarantee you that.
The other part of it, Emery, when you are choosing to come forward, how is it? And I want you to answer to me as directly as I'm asking you. How is it that you are allowed to come on to Fade to Black? How is it that you are allowed to speak at conferences now? That's the part that's most confusing.
I don't overstep my boundaries. Number one, I know what I can talk about and what I can't talk about. And, you know, you have to understand, you know, they killed my best friend. They killed my mom. They killed my dog. They killed 2 of my girlfriends. Okay, you have to understand there is something here that is significant, that they also need me for something. And I know what that is. And only one other person on the planet knows what that is.
What is it?
And, well, it's just they may need me for something if there is some big visitation. So I'm trying to, like, just play neutral. And now I stopped the energy thing. I don't mess with the corporations. I stopped my energy work. I stopped all this stuff. And they're more upset about me talking about, like, regenerative medicine and physics over Unity devices. They don't care. Like, talk about ETs all you want, they said. You know, that's fine, because, you know, people are going to think you're a kook, or, you know, they're going to have their own decisions about that. Plus, there's already so many other insiders that came forward to validate what I'm saying that it's not really that sensitive. I haven't told you, Jimmy, the sensitive stuff yet, but give me a year if I'm still here and I'll tell you about it.
At what point in your career did it go from not talking about ET directly or aliens or whatever crap to, you know, like first person conversation where ET was in a sentence, aliens were in a sentence, their location, the reasons why they were here, where it was an actual conversation? You know, like in the X-Files, it's always off in the distance. It's never talked about directly. It's always, you know, it's always a step away. It's never direct. But at what point was it direct?
You know, when you leave the underground and, you know, retire from the military and the projects, you get really lonely, like, really quick. And, you know, because that's your life. And, you know, I miss the camaraderie. I miss being able to talk about whatever I want to talk about and joke around about jokes that only people would know in the underground. And I said, you know, I got to fit in. You know, I got to go in the matrix here. I got to take care of my parents. I got to do my thing. And I did it. And it was just not enough. And that's when I started reaching out to organizations like CSETI and other groups, and seeing who I could and could not trust, contacting my friends that were military officials, you know, and having dinner with them, you know, twice a year to vent. And it's not enough. It wasn't enough. But yet, you know, you got to keep your mouth shut. You can't, you know, we're talking about, what is it now? 18 years. It's 18 years later, 20 years later. And it's like now, because they try to do something, you know, after they already destroyed my life and took everything from me, I just said, you know, and then a very aggressive attack came upon me that I said, you know, I got to do this. And I did it. And as soon as I started doing it, now everyone's my best friend. It's like the government, everyone's like being really nice, really cool. Everything's fine. No big deal. Corporations don't want me talking about free energy. Okay, that's fine. I already did that. Sorry, bye. And then, you know, of course, with the regenerative medicine, oh gosh, that's even worse. You know, they took me out with that. And it's like, okay, well, at least now I can educate people, let them go out, you know, investigate this, let the scientists go out, inspire them to, you know, investigate, you know, these different types of things. And I knew right away, I was like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. And I didn't cross my boundaries. So I'm still here for some reason. I don't know how much longer. But at the same time, they didn't break me. And they know that because they need me for something. And I'm just going to say to the public, I don't know exactly what that is for yet. I do know that because I was told by a high level person that you're lucky they need you still for something if it does happen. And it's like some sort of, safety net that I have, but I'm not going too far over. So I can talk to you, and I'm not going overboard to let you know. I'm not telling the public that, these things have already been, talked about around the planet. We didn't talk about regenerative medicine or free energy. So, there's no money. There's no money being made talking about extraterrestrials, so everyone knows. But there is money being made if I talk about free energy and regenerative medicine.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But Emery, before I let you go, when you say, what is it that you could be holding back that would be bigger than what you've already disclosed? I can't imagine what that may be.
Well, in time, disclosure happens in time. We got to do it the right way and safely, Jimmy, for everyone.
Emery, I'm calling you tomorrow. And I'm going to find out what this is. The point is, how big, Emery, could it be? Seriously, that is compared to what you've already disclosed. Tissue samples and the rock being an underground basis.
Everyone's brain, Jimmy. We educate everyone like you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job. I love your show. Love your viewers. I love all you guys. But we got to do it the right way, and we can't blow everyone's mind. We can't have everyone fall off the cabbage truck in one day. It's not going to work. We got to do it the right way, and we got to do it tactfully, scientifically, and truthfully, and try to back it up with some things, And that's what we have to do, and we're going to do it. I don't know if you're going to invite me back on the show, but all I'm saying is that there's a lot more to talk about, but we got to do it slowly, like we're doing right now, and it's amazing. All the people are responding. They get it. People have been holding and penting up these things in their minds and their hearts, and they're coming forward and they're saying, "You're right, and we got to do this." And this is not it's not rocket science, and the people know this, and the people that do know this are very conscious, and those are the people that are going to lead this event through to make it safe for everyone, because we have to think safety for everyone first. Safety for the planet, safety for the animals and the mammals, and safety for the humans. Sorry to put the humans last, guys.
What's next? What are you working on now? What's next? Are you going to be out there speaking at any conferences coming up? I know you just finished DOD last week or a couple of weeks ago, but what's in the future? What are you working on?
I'm doing a Laughlin conference here with Paula Harris. You can check it out on emerysmith.net. It's amazing. I'm going to do that conference, and then I'm probably going to stop doing, I don't know if I'm going to do any more conferences after that one. I want to go back to the roots. I want to do some CE5s with some people and just go out under the stars,
we should do,
and hang out.
And, you know what? I just had a brain. You and I should do a CE5 together.
That's what I got a hit on yesterday. And I said, you know what? I'm going to talk to Jimmy about that personally, see if he's interested.
Oh, man, we should do a CE5 together. We should do a CE5 together.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah, and we'll bring, beautiful. You know what? I'll invite the mainstream media out and document it. But that, I think, yeah, man. Yeah, we should do that. Okay.
You won't, yeah. You can ask anyone with my CE5s. There's never been a time we didn't have something on camera. That's for sure.
Oh, I got to say it. I'll say it right now. It's not me. I think it's the collective and it's the vibe that we bring together. But, oh, man, for some reason, we just bring it.
Oh, well, that'd be a blessing. I would love to do that.
That would be a good combination.
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be a good combination. Emery, thank you so much, my friend. Be safe out there. I know you've got a lot on your plate, And that Laughlin event, I might show up there. I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. But other than that,
oh my God, that would be a great.
Yeah. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay. Be safe out there. Have fun and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you, Jimmy, and thank you, everyone. Take care.
Emery,
sending love to all of you.
Absolutely, Emery. Thank you so much. Give my best to Olivia, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Emery, thank you so much. Emery Smith, it's emerysmith.net. He's going to be up there at Paola Harris's event up there at Laughlin. All the information is at emerysmith.net. And I'm going to open up the phone lines. I want to talk to everybody about these images in Antarctica. If you have been watching Twitter, we've got some other information on that. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Open lines are next. Stay with me.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I want to thank Emery Smith for coming in. Did a little overtime with us, 5-10 minutes. This is our UFO week here on Fade to Black. Tonight, it was Emery Smith. Tomorrow night, Stanton Friedman. Right here, Stanton Friedman tomorrow night. And then Wednesday night, I got to tell you, I'm very excited about having Barry Littleton back with us. And one of the most fantastic guests that we've ever brought on Fade to Black. And he will be with us on Wednesday night. And then, of course, Thursday night is Fader night. And I want to do all UFO calls all night long Thursday night on Fader night. Your experiences, your contact, close encounters, videos, photographs, everything. And that will be on Thursday night. And so I want to get to some phone calls. I got enough time for a couple. And so there you go. Let's go to area code 525. You're up first on Fade to Black. Who's calling? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, hello.
Okay, you're live. Okay, I don't know what the delay is there. Let's go to the next line. Oh, it's Bunk Steve. Steve, how are you, man?
How are you, Mr. Jimmy Church?
I'm doing fantastic. And you normally don't call in on a night like this, but you were so inspired.
Well, I always listen to Emery. Every time he's on, I've got to, listen to Emery. I've listened and watched every one of his Cosmic Disclosure episodes, and really, really proud of that individual for coming forward and bringing out the information that he's brought out.
It was a pretty interesting conversation tonight, even for Emery, in that I think it was emotional, but I think he was pretty straightforward. And I tried to at the beginning to set the record straight on a bunch of different fronts, and that was, of course, his career in the Air Force, how all of this education happened. And, he was in the Air Force for 5 years, 2 years in the reserves. But how all of this education happened and all of this experience in such a short span of time. And I don't think he's ever discussed that before. And I needed to clear the air there. What did you think about that?
Well, I mean, he's definitely, put his time in there, and he got a lot done in seemingly a short period of time, and was given benefit to, with it, he's very, very intelligent individual. So he was, and he, at the time he knew how to keep his mouth shut. And that's one of I think the biggest things with the programs that he was involved in is having the ability to basically keep your mouth shut. And if you can do that, I think you progress quite rapidly in those programs, with also being highly intelligent, and which, without a doubt, Emery is probably one of the most intelligent individuals that you probably had on the show.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there's one point that really that he brought up that I think needs to be driven home, which is you can go into the military and do your 3 years, your 5 years, your 6 years, or whatever. Go in, get out, and just do your thing, right? And or you could take advantage of, you can get all of the training and education you can ask for, right? If you want to just go and do it, they will allow that to happen, and you can just go back to back to back like he did. And I don't think a lot of people really understand what that can be for an individual. You could learn if you ask for it, they will teach.
He took advantage of every program and every circumstance that was offered to him. He took full advantage of it, and like he said in some of his episodes on Cosmic Disclosure, he moonlighted with still working as like I think as a paramedic at times. He did that and some other things at I think the hospital on base, and then was secretly doing his things at the underground facilities until it finally, I believe, it got to the point where he was basically full time in the underground facility.
I can only imagine if you being in the military, if you chose to venture out into, you could go into some dark areas, man. Not only ET related, but I mean things that we couldn't even comprehend. And you're right.
Well, certainly, Jimmy, there are things that go on in them underground facilities that are very disturbing, and it probably takes a certain mindset and a certain type of individual to be a part of those type of programs. And I believe some of those individuals are somewhat psychopathic, Jimmy.
Sure. There's no question about that, Steve. And if you're trusted, right, you keep your mouth shut, you're trusted, you just go from one situation to the next. And I can only imagine. Kind of sounds fun. Just be straight with you.
I'm sure that there are times when it's very, and especially if you're really into that, Jimmy, if you're really into, like he talked about, he really wanted to learn, especially when he was doing the dissection of the samples, the tissue samples, and he really wanted to and get through. Do we got some bleed back through, Jimmy? Or?
No, there might be. You might be listening to somebody that's on hold.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay,
but he really wanted to progress his knowledge of the field that he was in at the time, and he took, like I said, he took full advantage of it, and if that's what you're into, I'm sure that they give you every opportunity to progress, and because you're doing what they want you to do, and I'm sure if that's what you're into, that you're given every opportunity to do that.
There's another part of it.
As long as you're given that, giving them the work that they're asking for, I'm sure it's amazing, a very, very amazing and wonderful opportunity to have.
Yeah, it could be something like as simple as this. Let's say you're in the Air Force or the Army, maybe even the Marines. It doesn't, or the Navy, and you're interested in telekinesis or remote viewing or ESP or time travel or neural technologies or the conscious mind and computers. There is a road to travel down there for you. And
Jim, I'm sure that there are so many programs that where it's so compartmentalized, that there are so many programs of so many different subjects that that we're only scratching the surface of what has been told to us through whistleblowers, because a lot of those people, and that's one way I believe that we've had so much secrecy is, if you really enjoy what you're doing and you're being paid well, the last thing you want to do is open your mouth about what you're doing.
That's right. And there's another part of this, Steve. I'll bounce this off of you. Let's say this, that people, Emery or people like him that are coming forward and have come forward in the past and talked about this kind of stuff. What if he is still part, or they, he or she, whatever, are still part of the apparatus, still part of the machine, right? And they are spreading not disinfo, but info, right? But info. And then we find out, because it's like with Emery or with a guy like Nick Pope or just pick somebody, right? It's like, why him? Why now? What's the deal here? And then let's take it to the next level. Just maybe there's an agenda here. Now, let's just say that is the case. All right? Now go with me on this. I'm okay with that. Because what is going on behind that type of situation is probably a bigger deal than E.T., than UFOs, than crashed saucers at Area 51 at S4. As big of a story as that is, why would the military-industrial complex, why would the agencies have somebody in place to spread information? Not disinfo, but info. Now we've got a bigger, more complex issue. And we have to figure out why that would be. I'm not suggesting anything about Emery. I'm saying just in general where this information is coming out. Look at To the Stars. Look at that situation. Why? That's the question. It's not what they are. It's not the information. It's not the videos. It's not the question of contact or tissue samples or metamaterials or anything else. It's why would they be doing it? What's the bigger picture here?
There's absolutely an agenda to everything that they do. If you think if anyone out there thinks for 1 second that the information that Emery or anyone else is given is not part of their bigger picture,
the plan,
you're crazy.
Right.
The plan. You're not conscious enough. You haven't studied, or not saying that you haven't studied, but I'm just saying that you haven't opened up enough to realize how deep the rabbit hole is. And it is deep, Jimmy. It's it's beyond anything that we can comprehend. If Emery was releasing any information that truly was more sensitive than they wanted to reveal, Emery wouldn't be with us anymore. And yes, he's had several attempts on his life, but it wouldn't have ended with the car accidents and with some of the other things that's happened to him with the attempts on his life. Like Stephen Greer said, there's a bullet with your name on it and it will find you. And, killing someone, that's the easy part. They have people and individuals that are highly skilled and highly trained at doing that. And for 1 second, and I'm sure Emery knows this just as well as anyone does, if they want you dead, that it's not a question of how, it's just a question of when.
Yeah, they're
going to do that. So the information that he's releasing is part of the agenda, Jimmy. It's absolutely part of the agenda, and it's part of the, I guess, what we call the soft disclosure. But it is what it is, and I'll take it. I would really like to see a hard disclosure with all the information released and all the truth and everything out there. But I'll take what I can get.
There's no doubt that when you have somebody like Emery or others, if anything did happen, then everything that they have said is now accepted fact.
Absolutely.
So that's the other, it's like this dangerous balance, right? It's like this balance, this cat and mouse situation that we find ourselves in. If anything happened to any of these, any one of that would be suspicious, then suddenly we have a situation where everything that, look at Phil Schneider. That's
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Phil Schneider.
I mean, Phil Schneider, and I understand his disabilities and his physical side, and the conversations that he had in public were pretty sensational when he was alive, right? Pretty sensational stuff. E.T., underground bases, lasers and energy weapons.
And Dulce and all that.
Yeah, right. And then the way that he died, the way that he was killed, because he was murdered, right?
He was murdered. He was flat out murdered.
Flat out. It's just, you have to step back and go, well, wait a minute here. That is about the most suspicious, craziest. The police reports on first off, he couldn't use his hands. Right? He couldn't.
Right.
He had a couple of fingers.
He was disabled. He was a truly disabled individual.
In a wheelchair. And he's going to wrap surgical tubing around he didn't have hands to use. It's just like, wait a minute. But yet that they want to make that the official police report. It's like the most obvious situation. And he saw it coming too.
It's no different than when they threw that was the Secretary of Defense out of the
James Forrestal.
James Forrestal just so happens to get commit suicide off of the
hospital
30th
window
floor or whatever at Bethesda.
Yep.
Come on now.
Yep. It's
he was going to tell the truth. I think he truly was going to open up the can of worms, and people, and he had the power and the legitimacy to do that and to really expose, I believed he was going to expose.
Yeah. And what a better way to do it, right? Call him crazy, throw him in a mental ward, and then toss him out a window. There you go, right?
And I was really surprised that his brother also wasn't dispatched of Jimmy, because I think his brother knew some information that was detrimental to them.
Steve, I got to get out of here, man. Thank you.
Jimmy, one other thing, Jimmy.
Sure.
You know that the museum in Brazil, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, I know.
What were they hiding,
man,
or trying to cover up?
Yes.
What museum, Jimmy, that has billions? It's priceless artifacts. Does not have a sprinkler system for for a fire.
I don't get it.
Come on.
I don't get it. Burn to the ground. I know.
Jimmy, look, when you see the pictures, this thing is an inferno.
Yes.
This isn't just like a little, this is a flat-out inferno. Whatever they lit this thing with, they meant for this thing to burn to the ground.
It just
nothing
out of control. Ashes. Yes, I know. Unbelievable situation, and thank you for making that the last point of the show tonight. I'll talk more about that tomorrow, Steve.
Jimmy, as always, brother, thanks for the time.
That is Steve Bunker right there. Bunk Steve. Thank you, Steve. Had to come in tonight. Came in strong, too. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camarion. Show's produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you to Emery Smith for coming in tonight. Twitter was on fire. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, right here, Stanton Friedman. Night 2 of our UFO week. Until then, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.